Hello and good morning. Welcome back to day 2 of the Chat with SEGi series. My name is CY and I'm your moderator today. We have a lineup of exciting talks, specially curated for you. So if you're a school leaver or even if you're a parent with children who are supposed to be enrolled into a college or a university this year, you have come to the right place. And this morning we are going to start off with our Dean from Faculty of Business and Accountancy, Dr. Stephen. Before I introduce Dr. Stephen, let's talk about the topic today. The topic is, can lecturers teach business? And this morning when I met with Dr. Stephen, he was saying, wow, what a topic. Sounds a bit controversy, but this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about some real things that's happening in the education industry. We're going to talk about a little bit about our views on how to how business programs is supposed to be conducted a little bit differently in view of the market changes and stuff like that. And yeah, so without further ado, let me introduce to you Dr. Stephen Sasaya, our Dean from Faculty of Business and Accountancy. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Good morning. I'm Dr. Stephen Sasaya. I've been in the industry long enough to basically know what is required and why are we here. And I'm very passionate about making sure our students have the best learning experience.
And our students love you.
Yeah. I mean, you can say it.
A bit boastful.
Yes.
For 10 o'clock in the morning session.
Exactly. But I think that's all right. Yes, it's a really great to meet, and discuss about this very interesting topic.
Yes. So the topic today is, can lecturers teach business? When I approached Dr. Stephen and say that this is the topic that we're going to talk about, he is like, wow, doesn't that sound a bit controversial? But is it controversial? Let's find out. You see, the fact is, Dr. Stephen, and to all of our viewers, lecturers generally, not everyone, but generally, they are not business owners. Many of them doesn't have real life business experience of running a business, but maybe they've had some corporate experiences or industry experiences. Now, are they the right and the best person to teach business? Dr. Stephen, what are your views?
Yep. As far as the business school is concerned, right, for Bell of Business, Faculty of Business and Law, we are very passionate about making sure that our students have a very meaningful learning experience. Because the 3 or 4 years that they're going to be with us can actually dictate how their next 30 or 40 years are going to be. We emphasize that to the students.
Yeah.
Now, to make sure that they have the best learning experience, I feel it is very important that different stakeholders have to play an important role. So at our faculty, we feel that you need two important stakeholders. One will be the lecturers, and the other is the industry. Lecturers play a very important role in making sure that our students have the basic foundation.
Right.
That's very important because this can be very useful later on when they go on to face the industry. Having good, strong foundation about basic principles of business. We are talking about theories and concepts and all that. If they have strong foundation, is very important, especially when it comes to a program like business. Why I'm saying that is, unlike any other specific profession where they may have specific qualification to come in, when it comes to business, you may actually have students from various backgrounds.
Yeah.
They could have different qualifications.
Yes.
They'll be coming into business. So
Yeah.
it's very important for them to have a very strong foundation on the basic concepts as such. Now, moving on to the next important stakeholder. So once they are, the students are given very good foundation, then they move on to the next stakeholder who's going to be a very, very important role. Now, we believe that we are preparing students to go on to take on the business world. That's how we look at it. We want them to be ready when they go out there. So if they're going to go out and take over the, face the industry, industry definitely becomes a very important stakeholder. So we engage with the industry at various stages, from the day we develop the program right until our students graduate and they move on to the industry. How does it actually work? even before we develop our programs, we get the input from the industry. We conduct surveys. Okay, we conduct surveys to get feedback, input from the industry. Then the lecturers work with us, okay, in developing the programs, which is very important. That's the stage number one. The second part of it is just coming up with a program alone is not enough. It's very important to keep reviewing the program to make sure that the programs are up to date. As time goes on, every few years we do review of the programs. Again, we get the industry involved. We consult the industry. In fact, we appoint industry experts as part of our committee, get their input. Then we focus on reviewing the program.
Right. And what you're saying is, when students come to SEGi, the program that they are going through does not only come from academics, it's not only designed by academics, but it is also designed hand in hand with the industry.
With the industry, yes. That's very important, because we don't want students to learn about outdated things when they go out to the industry. They have to be up to date, latest what is happening. So that's the second part of it. The third part of it is even more interesting. When we talk about delivery, how do we deliver our programs? Now, the most common way people involve industry is maybe through talks.
Yeah.
Maybe through industry visits. We do that as well.
Yeah.
But we don't just rely on that. We go one step further. We actually go one step further. We bring the industry into the class.
Right.
Which I feel is very important, because when we bring the industry into the class, we are allowing the students to engage with the industry way before they actually graduate and start looking for a job. Okay, how do we do this? It's very simple. We have a list of top-notch companies who are our corporate value partners. We invite them to come in. They become part of our assessments as such. For example, one of the subjects is, say, marketing. Okay, for marketing subjects, a company may want to do a research. They may want to improve on their product. They may want to know certain input on how well the product is doing. Instead of they going ahead and hiring people, they come and work with us. They actually come and present it to the students, come up with questions. These are the things that we want. And what happens is, our students will work on this, and they are given a certain duration, maybe a month or 2 months or so. And end of the day, this is the most interesting part, because end of the day, the industry people will come to our actual classes, and our students will actually present to the industry. Can you imagine the kind of exposure the students are going to get?
Yeah.
This is unbelievable.
Exactly.
Because students really enjoy these kind of things, because there they are facing representative from the top companies. I'm seriously talking about the top companies. We are talking about companies like Sony and so on, coming there and listening to our students and giving their feedback.
Just a few days ago, I was having a conversation with Ms. Yok Ling, our new principal in SEGi College, Kota Damansara, and she was saying our students are presenting to top executives from companies, and some of their marketing people that came in told us that, hey, working in the company for 2-3 years, I have never even presented to my boss before, and here your students are presenting to my big bosses.
Yes, that's really unbelievable. If you ask me, students enjoy it, because they actually get feedback from the top executives, and end of the day, you'll never know, because if they are impressed, this is a good opportunity for the students. They could be picked up, as time goes on, which means we are not waiting for the students to graduate for them to find a placement. We are giving them an opportunity to engage way before that.
And I think that's very important. I'm just thinking back to my uni days. I think generally, like you have said, universities and colleges, when they talk about engagement with the industry, generally what they do is they will bring people in from the industry to give some guest lectures, or they will take you out on field trips.
Yeah.
And some people, maybe they would help you with your internship, so they will do internship placement, which by the way SEGi does as well.
Yeah.
But the fact is, let's talk about internship, right? The fact is, when students go from a university or a college environment into the corporate world to start their internship, right? Many of them have this culture shock where, you know, in a working environment, I don't know how to perform. But you know, as much as we want to believe that it's a learning experience for them, it's also very high pressure. Yes. Because when they go out into the world, they need to perform. And the idea of an internship is so that, you know, they could impress their employers and then hopefully get a job. But when we do this industry into the classroom effort throughout their studies, it gives them a very safe and guided environment throughout their 2-3 years of their studies to work with the lecturer to get the academic know-how, to get the foundation right through. And at the same time, with industry input and the nurturing that comes from the industry, it really makes a difference, doesn't it?
Definitely. Because, for example, when it comes to internship, chances are, if you go into a company, you could be put in a specific department, yes, and that's about it. Yeah. You don't really get to learn about the whole company as such.
It comes back to exposure.
Yeah, exposure. So when we bring the industry into the class, remember, we are not just bringing them for one particular subject. Oh. Different subjects. Yeah. We could bring them, and that actually exposes the student to the real life situation, and they're facing the top corporate leaders, and end of the day they get assessed from it by them, and once the results are out, if they are really impressed, then it can, end of the day, it can benefit the students.
Exactly.
Yeah, it opens up a different world to them. Actually.
Thank you very much, Dr. Stephen. The next question that I have for you, maybe a little bit difficult, and it goes like this. So business degrees and business diplomas are very common. Almost every university does it, or almost every college does it. How, apart from industry into the classroom, what else is SEGi doing that makes SEGi stand out?
As I mentioned earlier, we are very committed in making sure that the students have a meaningful learning experience. So it is not just about classroom activities or even industry. We get them involved in other activities as well. We organize social activities. We organize cultural activities. We also make sure that they're involved in helping out the community. For example, I can just give you an example. We received an SOS call from a school in a rural area asking us that, can you guys help us with books? You know, we have poor kids who need the books. And immediately we had a meeting with the students, and then we had clubs who are very active in it. We gathered information, we worked together, and within a week we managed to raise enough fund to go out there. And in fact, next Friday we will actually be traveling all the way to this rural school, and we'll be distributing books.
That's amazing.
Yeah, these kind of things we are looking at. We want to create all-rounders. It's not just about business, profession, and making money or anything like that. It is about how can you contribute to the society as well.
So talking about being an all-rounder and how we mold our students to be all-rounders and to be able to scramble and do wonderful things in a short period of time, let's talk about the future traits, the traits of future business leaders. What do you think they are, and how is SEGi grooming our students to be one?
When we talk about future leaders, obviously we are talking about how are you going to deal with the new generation of workforce. That becomes a very important point. How are we going to deal with it? Deal with them, and definitely things like being a leader in emotional intelligence, for example, very important. How are you going to deal with the younger generation? I feel is very important, because we keep reading about young people having, mental this thing and all those, they're finding it difficult to face the challenges. So this is very important, I feel. So when it comes to dealing with these young people, you must be able to deal with them the right way. If you use the wrong approach, You know, if you actually were to use the wrong approach, maybe the old approach or whatever, it may not work. And another trait I feel young people or leaders of the future must have is, of course, their idea to innovation, coming up with new things. If you do not come up with new things to improve, then it's
You'll
very
be obsolete.
Yeah, you will be absolute. And if you ask me, we as an institution are moving forward and we are changing, and students can see that as well.
Yeah.
You know, every now and then we are bringing in new things, which is I think that is good enough to give an indicator to the students that this is how things should be. You know, we must keep moving, you know, with the latest technology and so on.
Indeed. So the two traits here are emotional intelligence and at the same time the ability to innovate and do new things. Right. Dr. Stephen, I have one final question for you. That is from our audience, and that is, say if I'm an SPM leaver, or if I'm a school leaver, or if I'm a parent to a student who's supposed to be choosing an institution to pursue business, what should they look out for in a business school, in your opinion?
As far as the business school is concerned, like I said earlier, it is about learning experience and end of the day, finding a job, okay, getting the best out of that institution during the 3 or 4 years. Yes. And as I explained earlier, we will definitely be the right choice to come in. If students were to come in, we will make sure that they go through a very good experience, learning experience, and we are passionate. We have, for example, in Fabal, I can tell you that we have passionate lecturers, and nowadays it's quite easy to find out you know, how passionate are the lecturers involved in an institution. Go social media, look at the activities they carry out, and that will give you an indicator as to the kind of college life they're going through.
Indeed.
And we are definitely very certain that we will be able to provide the best for the students. So I think that is one of the main things. It's not just about what kind of results you have and how you're going to end up after that. It's more about the learning experience.
Yeah, and I like how you put it earlier. You said meaningful learning experience. That's very important.
Yes, that's very important because it builds character. As I said, students, we emphasize this to the students as well. I'm sure parents will be proud of it because we tell the students, look here, how your next 3 years or 4 years goes can actually be an indicator as to how your next 30 years or 40 years is going to be, because whatever experience that you gain, the knowledge that you gain can be very, very useful later on we move on to the industry and such. So that is why we feel that learning experience, the focus is always on the meaningful learning experience. So
yeah. Thank you, Dr. Stephen. So to all of our viewers out there, to do a summary, if I were to do a summary of today's session, the topic is, can lecturers teach business? And I think from Dr. Stephen's input, you will know that, of course, lecturers are one of the best parties to teach business. It is proven. But on top of that, you need to ask yourself a better question, and that is, if I were to enroll in a university, other than lecturers, who else is involved in my learning? And in SEGi, another stakeholders that we engage very heavily is the industry. And it takes two to tango, people say, right?
Exactly.
Academicians,
very important role to play, both sides.
And industry.
Yes.
So before we end today, Dr. Stephen, any final messages to students out there who are considering to pursue business?
Well, come and join us. I'll make sure that you made the right choice.
So remember this space.
Yes.
When you see him at any of SEGi's road shows or, you know, education fairs, which by the way, a lot of them are coming up, grab him and say, Dr. Stephen, I heard, I saw your video online. I need to talk to you about this.
Come join us. We have a very passionate team. That's very important. Every single member in the team very passionate about making sure that you have the best learning experience.
Yes, indeed. And up next, we have someone from Dr. Stephen's team as well, Dr. Sudashini, who's going to talk to us about accounting and finance. And it's going to be really exciting because her topic is going to be fast track to a chartered accountant. Take the faster and safer route. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in. We will come back after the break. And thank you, Dr. Stephen, for joining us.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much.